All right, let's dive in. We're heading to the beautiful English coastal town of Sidmouth, where something really fascinating is happening with their public spaces. It's a story all about grass, how we see the world, and maybe, just maybe, the future of our towns.
So, imagine you're walking through a park and you see this. Your first thought might be, looks like they've kind of let things go. But what if this apparent messiness is actually a super sophisticated plan in action? What if it's completely intentional?
To really get what's going on, you first have to understand the conflict that's right at the heart of Sidmouth. It's a town that's basically got two very different personalities, and they're pulling in opposite directions. On one hand, you have its historic Regency soul. I mean, think postcard perfect, manicured lawns, that whole Chelsea flower show kind of vibe. But on the other hand, there's this growing, urgent need for a functional, high-performance ecological network. So you've got this clash between its pristine heritage and a brand-new ecological duty.
And this brings us to the big question Sidmouth is trying to answer. Can these two worlds actually coexist? Is it possible for a town to be a perfect historical artifact and a thriving, living ecosystem all at the same time?
The answer, believe it or not, starts not with lawnmowers, but with us, with understanding human psychology. Specifically, our deep-seated, almost primal need for things to look neat and intentional. The key idea here is something called cues to care. These are basically little visual signals that tell our brains, hey, don't worry, this is on purpose. This isn't neglect, it's a choice. It's how you make something wild look like it's absolutely meant to be there.
And a perfect example of this is what they call the mown margin trick. A wild, overgrown patch of grass might look messy by itself, right? But if you just mow a clean, crisp, 1-meter strip right along the edge, you frame it, like a picture. And all of a sudden, that wildness looks like a curated, beautiful future. It's a simple, but seriously powerful psychological move.
Now, this idea of framing wildness, it's just one piece of a much, much bigger puzzle. It's all part of a town-wide strategy, a really carefully zoned plan that covers all of Sidmouth. They use what's called a management spectrum to zone the whole landscape. So in the town center, the real showstopper sites, things stay highly formal and manicured. But as you move out into the parklands, things get a little looser until you reach the low-management wildlife highways on the outskirts that connect all the natural habitats. They're also changing how they talk about it, which is so smart. The long, wordy, bureaucratic signs are gone. Now they're being replaced with these simple, iconic signs, bees, butterflies, that just say nature at work. It completely reframes what you're looking at, turning a scruffy patch of grass into a vital nursery for wildlife. And this is the crucial point to get. This is not about being lazy or just abandoning the land. It's actually a different, more intelligent, and often way more difficult form of management. I love this quote because it just perfectly captures the whole philosophy. It's not about letting go, it's about actively curating a landscape that balances all these different needs. This is thoughtful, intentional work.
And it's really important to make a distinction here. This isn't rewilding, a term that can sometimes imply just walking away from a piece of land. No, Sidmouth is actively building an ecological network. You can think of it like planned infrastructure, but for nature. And it's all defined by this simple mantra: more habitat, bigger patches of it, better quality, and all of it joined together.
And you know they're committed because they've made some tough choices. Banning the common weed killer glyphosate, for instance, was not the easy option. It means a lot more hard manual labor, using things like hot foam and literally hand weeding just to keep the town center looking sharp without poisoning the whole ecosystem.
So, you might be asking, why go to all this trouble? Well, let's look at the incredible ecological and, yeah, even economic value you get from embracing a little bit of scruff. Just take a simple hedge, for example. A perfectly square, neatly flailed hedge, well, it's pretty much a desert for wildlife. But a slightly overgrown, scruffy one that's cut way less often, it produces flowers and berries, and it creates what ecologists call a winter pantry, a fully stocked larder that's absolutely crucial for birds to survive the cold months.
You know, this new way of thinking also shatters an old myth that you have to choose between nature and farming. The reality is that biodiversity is farming's best insurance policy. When you have healthy ecosystems, you get more natural predators for pests, and you get better soil, which means you need fewer expensive and harmful chemicals.
And you know what? There's also a real economic benefit here.
Tourism is changing. People are increasingly looking for authentic, green and wild destinations, not some sterile plastic resort. A healthy ecosystem with falcons on the cliffs and otters in the river, that becomes a premium tourism offer. That's a huge draw.
So what this all leads to is a brand new vision for what a town like Sidmouth can be. It's about creating a living postcard, where every single person and every single space, no matter how small, has a role to play.
And this is where it gets really personal. It's called the stepping stone concept. The idea is that this big ecological network is only as strong as its smallest parts. A whole row of gardens that have been paved over can become a dead zone that breaks the entire chain for a species, like a bat trying to get across town.
This means your own garden, your balcony, even a planter on your windowsill, it's a vital link in the chain. Something as simple as a hedgehog hole in a fence or a single native plant in a pot acts as a stepping stone that connects the big nature reserves to the very center of town.
Ultimately, what Sidmouth is showing all of us is that we don't have to make this false choice between a beautiful past and a living future. By cleverly and thoughtfully weaving them together, you really can have both. You can have your sandwich and a songbird.
And that leaves us with a final, massive question for all of our own communities. Are we willing to rethink our own ideas of what neat means? Are we ready to trade the shallow comfort of a perfect, sterile landscape for one that is messy, complex, and vibrantly, truly alive?